genocide. Sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one thinks countries. Laugh to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social side, they don't matter, genocide. Sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear, fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one thinks countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Rock the Boat right here on UCY.TV. And I'm your host for the next hour. And it is the 2nd of January, which means we got through New Year's. I hope everybody had a good time and had a safe time. And we're done with 2017, so on with 2018. And, you know, when I was a kid, and you thought about 2000, you know, the year 2000, that was so far off, it was nuts. It wasn't even comprehensible. And here we are in 2018. And so 2018 is going to be a good year. It's about the year that people quit making excuses why they can't do something. You know, I don't want to hear anybody's going, oh, we're screwed. I don't want to hear that crap out of nobody no more. They wrote everything down. You know exactly what they're up to. You know exactly what their plans are. And so we just need to formulate our plan, how we're going to kick them the hell out of our countries and take our countries back. So it's not that big a deal. I mean, they're scared to death. They are so scared of you, it's nuts. You know, excuse me. So, you know, I'm going to keep telling people if there's an election, I don't care what kind of an election it is near you, run in it. Because, you know, everybody's complaining about the mainstream news being fake news and all the rest of this stuff, and it's just propaganda, and they're on the side of the globalists. Well, that's all true. So how do you get some truth out there? You take any opportunity that's given to you, and every election is an opportunity to be on mainstream radio, to be in the mainstream media, and they're going to print what the hell you say. It's your opportunity to speak in front of people and explain to them what's going on. And it'll be much easier now because first time I ran 2007, people really still didn't have much of a clue. But this is 2018, and I'm quite happy to say that people are waking up in droves. They're getting ticked right off. So for all those people that have blogs that are actually pegging the truth and aren't putting poison in there to distract people, thank you very much for all your hard work. And I think I'm going to have a pretty interesting year because I'm going to run in June for the Ontario provincial election as a Libertarian. And then if that don't work out, then I'll be running in the fall as mayor of my municipality. Because this is what we need to do. And it's not that important, you know, if we could round up enough people for these municipal elections, yeah, we could get a majority vote really, really fast. But all the people bitching and complaining, well, I don't want nothing to do with that. Well, then go stick your head up your ass and sit in the corner until it's over. Because you've proven you are no use to anybody. Not to yourself, not to your municipality, not to your state or province, and not to your country. And that's a sad thing. You know, it's a very sad thing. But I think, you know, over the next year or two, that's more and more people step forward to do what needs to be done. More and more people will step forward. That's the whole point of it. So those who know need to run so that they encourage those who are just learning. All right? You have to be a leader. If you're looking for someone else to lead, well, go look in the mirror. Be a leader. Not that damn difficult. You know, everybody's whining and bitching about the sheeple. Well, don't be a sheeple. If you're not prepared to stand up and do what you need to do, then you can't bitch about the sheeple because, well, you're one of them. So don't be one. Step up to the plate. And I think a lot of people are fearful, intimidated, but trust me, I've run in elections. These party members are dumber than a box of rocks. And if you are knowledgeable, then they're in for a rough ride. And that's what we got to do. Give them a rough ride. We got to shine the light on them. We got to call them out. We got to show the people what these party people are actually up to, which should make the general population angry. And anger is a gift because it's a motivator. So laying down time is over. Over. And I gotta figure out something to write about this. I haven't even looked it up yet, but I gotta look at this as I think Karen from Calgary sent me that. I think it's brilliant. 2018 in Hebrew means overthrow. So this is the year we begin the overthrow of the ones who have enslaved us all these decades, centuries. It's our time, people. It is our time. And if we don't get this fixed, well, then it's our fault. I'm also sick and tired of people bitching and complaining about the Rothschilds and Rockefellers and all of these elite Illuminati morons. Don't worry about them. Because when we pull the foundation out from underneath them, the pylons that are holding them up, they're going down. Once you get a hold of your province or your municipality, they're done. Because your government, your so-called governments, are underpinning them. That's what's holding them up. So you pull the cards out from underneath, they come crashing down to the ground. They have no power. Never had any power. They're just sneaky buggers. They're very good at deceiving people. But then again, everything's wrote down and people are reading now, finally. And they realize that they're being scammed. And they're realizing more every day, like people are still talking about Agenda 21. Well, that's done, folks. It's in place already. So the whole time we give them a free ride on Agenda 21. Now they come out with 2030, right? And they're coming in for the kill, they think. They see the goal line. They're going for the goal line. But we ain't going to let them cross it. So don't be meek. It's not the time for it. Time is to be strong and determined. Just like our forefathers were strong and were determined. We've had that beat out of us, mainly through the school system. And everyone's afraid of being in trouble with the so-called government. And that's how they enslave you, through fear. And there ain't a damn thing to fear. The only thing to fear is if we don't do what we need to do. Then it's too late to worry about being fearful, because you're done. Anyways, I hope everybody had a very good holiday and come out with a new attitude in 2018. One thing that's very, I find it disheartening actually, here in Ontario, and we did this on another show, about the free drugs for 0 to 25-year-olds. There is no other purpose of it than destroying those children, getting them hooked on drugs, getting them hooked on mental health agencies and mental health workers. I mean, that's just handing your kid over. That's the destruction of your child. You know, I was reading an article, you know, they're just going on about how bad it is. How many of these children, so to speak, are suffering from anxiety and mental conditions and all this kind of stuff. It's not that they are suffering from these maladies, it's why are they suffering from these maladies? Well, because your TV shows, your propaganda, your movies, your school system are the ones that screwed the kids up. Nothing's normal. They don't know how to deal with normal because they don't know what normal is. They know something's wrong, but they're young children. So, create a problem, which in the case of the kids is anxiety in that, and then come up with a solution, which is fill the children full of pharmaceuticals and get them hooked. In other words, destroy them early. So the government who is destroying your children is coming to the aid of your children, so they say. Not what's happening, folks. The government don't give a sweet bejesus about your children. They give a damn about crossing that goal line they're chasing. And they don't want any trouble if they can help it. So get the whole population strung out on pharmaceutical and opiates. I can't even say the freaking word because it's not in what I like to think about. I have a friend of mine who's just getting off fentanyl, and that was a wicked ride. Doing much better now, and he was put on for massive pain and a broken femur and whatnot, and then a messed up hip. So they replaced all that stuff, and but he's so hooked on the fentanyl. Every time he tried to wean himself off, he'd go in the toilet. So he finally went and did a week in the hospital. He decided, that's it, I'm done with this shit. And went through some bit of misery. But he's out the other side now. And he's looking forward He went from being depressed to looking forward to life. Now, you put these kids on these antidepressants, these kids are going to be depressed. They ain't going to be happy. They're going to be depressed because now they're dependent. So now it's not their life they're leading. Their life is being led by pharmaceutical drugs. That's what's in charge of their lives now. You know, I'll put a shout out to all parents, like, wake up. Try and be responsible just for a little while. And don't be suckered by this nonsense that's being fed to you everywhere. Dr. Phil says, Oprah says, the news says, Dr. So-and-so says, scientists suggest. Ontario hiring is hiring mental health agents like it's going out of style. We don't hire people that actually produce anything anymore. We just hire people that hang out in the bureaucracies and mess up your families, mess up your lives. I don't know. I had chicken for supper, but I smelled duck. Is there a duck around here somewhere?
I actually had one.
What?
Ago.
Duck?
Yeah.
You ate your own people?
I did.
Oh, man. Now we got cannibalism. This is terrible.
It was actually good. I stuffed it. It tasted better than chicken.
I only had one duck, and I found you got to know how to cook a duck, I guess. It was just we cooked the duck like a chicken, and it was really greasy, and then I had to, we left it on the plate, and it cooled down. I pretty much had to chisel it off. But I understand if you know how to cook a duck, it's quite tasty.
Well, there's a secret to get the wild taste out, and as weird as it sounds, you put in your potatoes and your onions and your garlic, and you stuff it with that, and you put orange zest on top of it and stuff some orange inside with some orange juice from an actual orange. And
well, how do you hold the duck down?
And you don't taste any wild taste either.
Well, how do you hold the duck down when you're doing all this?
Well, you got to kill it first.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Well, maybe that's what we did wrong.
Yeah, you cooked it. You cooked it alive. You didn't boil the frog. you
just threw it in the oven. It was flopping around in there. It looked a little pissed off, but we thought, I didn't know that. You killed the duck first.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah.
Well, I'll have to try that again.
Plucking at some.
I'll have to try that again. We didn't cook that duck right.
And you got to take those little tweezers, and you got to pull out all the extra. The bones that stick out from the feathers, you got to pull them out too, or else it doesn't. Some of them get stuck in your teeth.
Well, see.
But anyways, you're talking about pharmaceuticals.
No, just before you go there, I was thinking, can I give some politicians your address, and maybe you could put some orange on them and stuff them and feed them to the homeless or something?
That would be cruel and unusual punishment.
I suppose.
But
anyway,
would like to cook them and stuff them and cook them for sure. But I wouldn't feed them to any of my friends.
Yeah, and the animals probably wouldn't eat them either.
They're young enough. I'm sure there's some elitists. Jews. So I had a cough there.
Can you hang on a minute? I got to go take my pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. Well, there's what I find. I don't know how what's a good word to say? Contentious, arrogant, ignorant. I don't know what a word is to describe what giving pharmaceuticals is to children. I mean, this is not normal. It is not natural.
No.
And but it's accepted because it's been accepted for 50 years now. No, maybe not that long.
No, it's been about. No, it's probably about 50 years.
Yeah.
And but prior to that, people weren't taking drugs. Now it's like when you go to
if you don't take drugs now, you're not normal.
I know. That's what's screwed up. That's what's really screwed up.
Gotta change, buddy. Gotta change.
Well, some of my old friends, when I run into them and we're talking, and they're just absolutely same age as me, and they're absolutely freaked out that I'm not taking any pharmaceuticals. You're not taking anything? No. Why are you taking all that well, the doctor told me I should take this, and then he gave me this because of the side effects of that, which had side effects from this. So, yeah, I eat a lot of drugs, man.
Doctors say.
Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous, and to do this to children is absolutely disgusting. What the hell does a child require pharmaceutical drugs for? Depressants, antidepressants. Why are kids depressed? They weren't depressed when I was a kid.
Well, did parents not take their children aside and have a little conversation with them and help them deal with their issues?
I don't know that parents even deal with their children anymore.
Yeah.
They get notice that this is what your child's suffering from anxiety. We have to send the child to the doctor, and the doctor will figure out what to do. You go, well, wait a minute. So everything's right out of the hands of the parents. The teacher says this, then it goes to the doctor, and the doctor says this, and writes a prescription, and before you know it, your kid's hooked and messed up for life. And I don't understand why.
Yeah, we had that battle with Ritalin. Well, I'm going back to my oldest child, not my oldest, my second oldest child. A friend of his. My children have never been on pharmaceuticals that I've allowed. But I had one of my best friends put his son on Ritalin. His own son took himself off of Ritalin. And he said, I don't think that's my issue, Dad. Yeah, and I applauded him for that. To this day, I haven't seen him in a long time, but I wish I could speak with him again. I'd like to get him on your show. But his mother and his father put him on Ritalin, and he did that for about 2 weeks, and he started going goofy. And he took himself off of it and said, that's not the fix. And that was like, I don't know, geez. Okay, Curtis is 37, 36 now. So 26, 16, he was, 15, 16 years old at the time. That was, that's 21 years ago. And yeah, he got himself off of it. And good for him. I mean, his parents weren't smart enough to understand it, but he was smart enough to understand something's not right when I take this drug. And Ritalin was real popular back then.
Yeah, I think I had. I used to get called. I used to have they said I had a bad attitude, and I was insolent, and so on and so forth. And I think they, at one point, wanted my mom to put me on something when I was young, and she was actually listening to the doctors and that, right? And I said, ain't gonna happen, right? So then I figured it out. So when a teacher said, you got a bad attitude, I would just look at them and say, thank you very much for noticing. Or they say, you got an attitude problem. Thank you. All right? And it used to mess them up. Because they're trying to, like you're a conspiracy theorist, right? You got an attitude problem, right? Well, I have an attitude. And if I didn't have an attitude, I guess I would just be a mindless piece of meat, right? They didn't care for that much, but, this is what they do to the kids, right? Well, he seems to be having problems in class. I ain't having problems in class. I asked you an intelligent question, and you gave me a no-mind answer, or you didn't answer it, and you're telling me I'm the one with the problem? Maybe you ought to go take some drugs. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how families allowed this to happen to them, other than they took the mother out of the house and put the mother to work. In other words, they took the family away from the child and handed the child to the state. That's the only thing I can think of how we ended up in this mess. Is the state got control of the kids. And the state knows what's best for the kids. All of a sudden, the family doesn't know what's best for the kid anymore. The state knows what's best. And all their experts know what's best for the kid. And the parents, I guess, are tired and wore out. And they're the experts, right? And, you remember, what was that drug they put on kids for antidepressant back in the 80s or whatever? How many kids killed themselves that were on that drug? They were dropping like...
just discussing?
What?
Was that not the Ritalin?
No, it was another drug that was... What was it, hon?
Prozac.
No, it wasn't Prozac. There was another drug that they were giving kids. But any of those drugs, right? Just messing the kids up, something terrible.
Well, it doesn't matter whether it's Prozac, Ritalin, or fentanyl. No, it's just a chemical concoction that these guys throw together.
Yep.
And say, well, here, let's just see if this works. we have no idea. We don't really care.
And the more addictive,
money and hope you fucking die.
And the more addictive, the better, because then we can make more money on it.
Yeah.
That's why I don't understand why parents allow this stuff to go into their children's bodies. I don't get that. I mean, if you're giving your child a drug that alters their mental function somehow,
natural capacity to be a human. No, sorry, I never meant human. I mean, man being.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody has problems, but they put them on these drugs and then they can never work through these problems. And this whole industry of mental health, and it's a booming industry right now, it's just going to get bigger. Now you have to drive your child to the mental health expert who, how's Tommy today? Well, he's feeling not as good as he was before he started taking these stupid pills. Well, maybe he's having a side effect. Why don't we make it an appointment with the doctor, and he can go see the doctor again, and maybe get another prescription for some of the side effects he's suffering from. Take your pill and shove it where the sun don't shine. How's that? It makes me nuts. I mean, when we had the cottage, I've said this before, but my sisters and that would drop kids off, or my niece would bring her friends out there, and my niece's friends were kind of I don't know what you call it, millennial hippies or whatever. But they didn't like anything to do with this millennial stuff. They liked back in the 70s and that better, but they didn't live then. And people would look at these kids like they were a problem. And when I talked to these kids, a lot of them were dropouts, and they were really, really, really intelligent kids. They were really intelligent. And they dropped out because they couldn't take the bullshit, right? And, I just, people. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with families and doctors and healthcare workers and all this kind of stuff. I mean, can't people see? Why do they keep making excuses?
Like what I found is when you were I guess you would call a natural parent, your child would bounce off walls sometimes.
Well, yeah.
And it's because they're full of energy and they're expending it. And parents now believe that's a mental issue.
Yeah.
Well, it is a mental issue. You're growing up, and you're going through a phase in your life that
take your kid fishing, take them, go play ball with them, or go do something, right? You got your kid in the house and he's bouncing off the walls. Well, listen, why don't we go outside instead of bouncing off the walls? Let's go have some fun.
Yeah.
But nobody seems to know how to do that anymore. I mean, people only take their kids, that I am aware of now, to organize sports. So someone's always got a hold of your kid. The kids, I know you don't see kids, or at least here I don't see any kids out just playing ball or doing whatever.
Christian just came over, grabbed a couple of shovels for a couple of young kids, because I used to make snow forts all the time. You know the snow banks, and you talked about yourself getting a lot of snow up there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I packed the snow banks with out of my driveway, I would pack it down, make sure it's good and tight, be about 7 feet, give or take, and then I'd start digging a hole inside of it, and I'd make myself like I guess in more northern areas they'd call them igloos, and I used to put benches in it. I'd carve out benches. You'd have to crawl in to get in, then you get a bench, and you get I'd make a little bed, and the kids had fun. Well, Christian just did that because he remembers me doing it for him. He did it for some young lads about 5 or 6 years old. He just borrowed a couple of shovels from me and went and made one of them. I don't know if it's as high quality as his dad would make, but it's his first time. But that's what he did, for his friends' younger brothers. He said, "Come on, guys, let's go do this," and that's what they did. No iPoddies, no iPaddies, no TV, no. This was totally organic. And I said, "How'd it work out?" He said, "It was fun." He said they loved it. He said they couldn't stop once they got started.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, we used to build all kinds of like igloos and whatnot, and what was really weird about it, right? Like sometimes we would also dig, right? We made all kinds of weird structures, like in the fall before the snow and the ground froze up. They were building houses and stuff around us, so we go and dig a hole down about 5 feet, and then we'd go to the construction site and pick up pieces of plywood and that were left over, and then we put a lid on it, and then put the sod back on it and let the snow land on it, and in the wintertime, same thing, you got a little opening, right? The same thing with the igloo above the ground, and you probably did this too. If you take a candle in there, one single candle and some friends, just the body heat and the candle, you're just toasty freaking warm. But
that's a myth.
And no, it's not a myth, because
I did it. I said to my kids, I took in 3 candles. 2 years ago, I took in 3 candles.
Well, I'm not talking about birthday cake candles.
Yeah. Well, I did.
It lasts very long.
I'll tell you right now, I said, okay, Christian grabbed a sleeping bag and said, "I'm going to sleep the night in here, Dad." And I went, okay. Well, it wasn't 2 hours later he come in the house.
I don't think I'm up for that. No, we used to do that, and we're fine. But I mean, we spent our, we're talking winter now. I mean, we would leave early in the morning on a Saturday, Sunday morning. We'd either run on skis or snowshoes, and we'd head out in the bush and take our eats with us, beans and wieners or whatever. And, we built a shelter out there and get a fire going because we usually end up soaking wet. And so we'd be sitting around with our socks hanging on sticks and whatnot, drying our clothes out and whatnot, and cooking up lunch and what. I mean, kids would have to take a long course to do any of that. We just did it, right? Everything we did, we learned basically to do ourselves. I mean, it was just logical. And I don't know how much logic is left anymore. See, I'm thinking what you probably did wrong with your igloo there, or your snow shelter, was you probably made a blueprint and went and got a building permit for it or something. Yeah. And that's probably why it didn't warm up. No, the kids. When I don't see these kids. The kids used to be everywhere, and doing all kinds of neat shit. And you couldn't drive down pretty much any street in my town when I was a kid without a road hockey game going on. Right? I don't see anybody playing road hockey anymore.
I've been seeing road hockey, and I live in a quiet neighborhood. I'm one of them white privileged people. But I haven't seen a road hockey game here since I held the last one 4 years ago. Everybody, we had backyard rinks all over the place, and we had one guy, this couple was really cool. He didn't have any kids, and they had a big backyard, and every winter he would put up the boards and he'd flood the thing, and he'd have floodlights out there, and so we could go over and play hockey or skate or do whatever the hell we were doing anytime we wanted. I don't see much of that going on anymore either. The kids were always having fun. They were always building something and doing something strange and having fun. I see the kids walking down the street now, and I'm not sure if they'd know fun if it slapped them up the side of the head. Well, their head's always down. I noticed that.
Yeah.
It's on that iPod-y thing.
Yeah, well, that's not going to get you much fun. It ain't going to teach you much. And, they're only kids for a little wee while, right? Let them have. I guessed
on your show, Ron, not too long ago, that fought in a war and is a war hero, accredited, proven. He had me build a rink at his house, which wasn't quite NHL size, but I said, I can do this. And it was on a hill. Not like walking uphill two ways. This was legitimately on a hill. And you can ask him for yourself if he's ever on your show again. He said, can you build me a rink? I said, sure. We were neighbors at the time. I built a rink, and that's exactly what happened. People came. People played hockey.
Yeah.
I got hurt the worst, I think. Because every time I friggin' went on, my skates were dull, and I kept falling on my hip. Busted my hip up pretty good. But I had fun. And then when I was in the house, there was neighborhood kids out there with their shovels, shoveling it off so they could utilize it, and they were playing hockey games. I haven't seen that here anymore. I don't know where that's gone, but it's gone. But I can build one. If anybody wants, you can reach me at 1-800.
Have winter fun, right? No, I mean, when we used to build our runs, every fall we'd go out in the bush, and because we're in the Ottawa Valley, lots of hills, and we'd scope out an area, and we would chop down what trees we needed to, and those trees we chopped down we would use to build jumps and ramps and whatnot, and scope it all out. So when the snow came, we had runs, right? And we were like 12. You go out with your hatchets and whatnot, and you spend the whole day out in the bush on the weekend, and then you're ready for winter. I mean, it was, I don't know, like, I don't know, people don't seem to have any capacity to use their hands anymore or something. I don't know I don't know what's going on. You know, I think I don't think the kids get out enough. They're inside all day in the school, and they seem to be basically inside at night playing stupid games or whatnot, or, you know, texting away. They don't seem to get out. Maybe we should start a company, get your kid out, you know. But we lost one kid in my hometown when I was about 8. We used to build, because we had a lot of snow, and where the plows would come down the street, we had these huge banks, so we would get digging in them and build tunnels and everything in them. And one young guy was in there one time, and the snowblower came by. Didn't work out well. So, but you don't have to play in those banks.
That's scary, because where I am now, I actually had 2 forts. I had one, you went from one to the other, and you had to go across the sidewalk to get to the other one. And I thought of that afterwards, because
it's not good,
that's very sad.
Yeah, once the banks get so high, they run the blowers down, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't work out well.
Yeah. So, I mean, as a parent, I wasn't very intelligent when it came to that. But
well, you know, most people.
I always watched the kids when they were playing, and if I heard something coming, I was the first one to run out. Not saying that what I did was right, but
we used to do that in the barns too. We would we'd lift a bunch of bales out, and then we get old barn board and that, put it back down, then put the bales on top of it again. And I don't know what the farmers thought, but we had tunnels all through the frickin' hay, right? Because the barn's fun, right? Because you got the what the hell you call it now? The thing for grabbing the bales with on the rope, right? So you get up in the rafters of the barn, and you're swinging all over the barn, and you're just having there was so many places to have fun. Somebody broke a leg or an arm every now and again, but that you heal up, right? It was still about having fun and pushing your limits a little bit, you know. And I don't think the kids do that anymore either. But I mean, I just put this mental health thing in, mental health of students in Ontario. Student mental health needs growing, Ontario College says. Post-secondary groups call for beefed up mental health services. Ontario campus counselors say they are drowning in mental health. Survey 25,000 students found rise in rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide attempts. Ontario colleges and universities are facing a mental health crisis as campus counselors are overwhelmed by the growing need for services, according to a new study. Well, why all of a sudden, if you got this exponential growth in mental health issues of young people, it's not that you need to try to help them with their mental. You need to ask the simple question: why are these kids suffering from these issues? Not that they are, and we're going to give them some drugs to fix them, but why are they suffering from this? Well, because the whole system's broken. You've taken everything that is a child away from them, and you've messed them up. Ontario is dedicated to supporting the mental health of students, promoting positive mental health, identifying students at risk, and helping them to get the support they need are all roles that the education system can play. The School Mental Health Assist Implementation Team is one initiative that exists to help Ontario. CAMH, which used to be that psych ward downtown Toronto, I forget what it was called now, but it was so notorious for messing people up, and this is basically where all of this stuff's coming from. They need to create a problem. Mental health and well-being findings from the 2015 study are available to download. New topic in 2015 report include adequate sleep on a school night, going to bed, or school hungry, elevated stress, and symptoms of that good old ADHD. The mental health and well-being of Ontario students is detailed there. Mental health services for children and youth. There are more than 400 agencies. Get this. This is July 4th, 2017. There are more than 400 agencies across Ontario that offer help to children and youth with mental health and addiction concerns up to 18 years of age. For post-secondary students in Ontario, provides professional accounting information and referrals for mental health, addictions, and well-being. How in the hell do you need 400 agencies in this province to help children who are having anxiety? You're not allowed to have anxiety anymore? You know, the idea of being anxious about something is to work your way through it. 70% of mental health problems have their onset during childhood or adolescence. 17% of children aged 2 to 5 meet diagnostic criteria for mental health problems. 28% of students report not knowing where to turn when they wanted to talk to someone about mental health. How in the hell can 17% of children, how would you even diagnose this? 17% of children aged 2 to 5 years old meet the diagnostic criteria for mental health problems.
2 to 5, eh?
That's basically, that. You may as well round it out to 20%. That's 1 in 5 kids between 2 and 5 have mental illness problems. Like, take your stats and shove them where the sun don't shine. Keep these lunatics away from your children.
I bet you I had a lot of anxiety problems when I was 2, but I can't remember.
I know. But this is the same thing. This is the same thing, though. They're telling 2 to 5 year olds that they're really not a boy or a girl. I mean, they're messing with these kids at the earliest possible age. And you got to remember, your kid between 2 and 5 years old is usually sitting in front of that damn television, which is throwing this propaganda into their heads. You may not notice it. You're busy. It's just background noise. But the kid's plugged into this stuff. And by the time he gets to school, they're shoving the same garbage down their throats, and it all seems normal. Because from the time they're 1 or 2 years old till they go to school, they're listening to all this crap the school's ready to keep shoving at them when they get there. So everything seems normal. And nothing's normal, and you end up, if you have 20% of the kids age 2 to 5 have mental problems, and then I don't know what age this is, but 28% of students report not knowing where to turn. So you basically got 30%, or roughly 1 in 3 students, not knowing where to turn to when they need to talk to someone about mental health. Why in the hell is basically 30% of the students wanting to talk about mental health? When you went to school, Chris, when you were a student, did you, hey guys, what do you want to do? You want to go play ball or something? You want to go swimming? You want to go build a fort? You want to go get in a fight? You want to do what? Well, no, I'd really like to talk about mental health problems. Do you have a lot of friends doing that?
I don't think I had one.
No. No, so this is a constructed problem. This is another create a problem, fire up the response to it, which is the media and the schools and the doctors and everything else, and then get the solution you want. And we know that these elitists, the idea of drugging everybody, they love it. So problem, reaction, solution, they create the problem, they give the solution, and then all this noise in the middle gets the government, who's involved in it, to say, look, we're doing this because of the problem. So this is the solution to the problem.
You move it forward, Ron.
Huh?
You move it forward to what they're using Vancouver as an example right now. They started out with injection sites.
Oh,
Adults,
I know.
We're here to help.
Yeah.
You can come here and get clean needles, and if you don't have your drugs, well, we might just happen to have some here to give you.
And that's what, you nailed that. That's what they do. They pick a spot, they put something in place, whatever it may be, and then they say, oh, look what Vancouver's doing about it. Well, we should do the same thing. We should have injection sites. Or be it LGBT, they started that somewhere, and then, oh, isn't this a wonderful thing? We should have that here too. And pretty soon it spreads across everywhere, and it becomes normal. It's just, it pisses me off big time. I feel so bad for the kids, man. Like everybody's complaining, like in the construction industry now, you can't find anybody who wants to do anything. Like they don't seem to have any desire to learn how to do anything.
Well, it's damn cold out there, Ron.
Well, it doesn't have to be this day, right? But
we used to have fun doing it.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we're one-offs. I don't know. I mean, I worked for that guy when I was whatever age, young, and we were going to go out west, and I was making average wage at the time for what it was. It was a long, long time ago. So I was just a laborer, really, on a guy's building a house. Getting $5 an hour. And told him I was going out west, and he told me I couldn't do that. Why not? Because I need you. Well, I mean, anybody can do this shit, right? And he said, no, they can't. He said, you're always looking ahead where I'm headed next, and you already got stuff cut when I'm going there, right? I don't have to bitching and complaining all the time. So then he offered me a $2 an hour raise, which is getting close to 50% raise. And I thought, like, back then, when he's offered me $1, and I said no, and they offered me $2, that was back in the era where people were happy to get a 10 or 15 cent increase in their wages. So, but I had crews, and I had good crews, so, but it's really gotten bad now. I mean, it's really gotten bad. They've just, I don't know what they did. They made it so the kids don't have to do anything. I guess the kids think they don't have to do anything. And that could be part of the idea of get them drugged and get them on their guaranteed income and put them in a little apartment and put them on a transit. And these basic mindless creatures are running around, and then the government just tells them what to do, and they do it. And it's really getting kind of spooky. So maybe I'll go out and start a road hockey game tonight. Well, I don't know if we got any kids on this street. I'll have to go find a street where kids live. And
road hockey is banned, I think, on most streets now too.
It's what?
Banned. It's a bylaw.
Well, you can't play road hockey?
You might get hit by a car, you see.
Oh.
Remember the old days we used to go, car?
I know.
Now you can't even do that anymore because you might get hit by one before you call.
And you know, it's really funny too because when we're doing that, you know, sometimes we just had blocks of snow for the net, and sometimes we had nets. So you're dragging the net off the road, right? It actually got easier with the blocks of snow because they could just run over them and put another one there. You didn't really have to move anything. But we're moving the nets and that, and we're always playing road hockey. Every night we were playing road hockey. And the cars would come by, and you know, they'd roll through where we are, and they'd roll their windows down. You know, how's it going, guys, and that. You know, there was some interaction between older people and younger people, right? Nobody was pissed off that we were playing road hockey. They were happy we were having a good time. I think some of the people that came by in the cars wish they were out playing road hockey. You know, so, and the other, you know, we had so much snow here, and the one day it was really snowing in that, and there was a lot of snow in the parking lot of the coffee shop, or where I go to get my coffee, and, you know, I seen some SUVs roll in that, and, you know, what got in my head was we used to, sometimes we'd use skis, but when we're just rooting around town, we just bumper hitch, right? I suppose that's banned too, is it?
Oh no, that used to be fun. You just refreshed my memory.
Bumper hitching was slick.
Oh, I used to do it to get to friends' houses.
Yeah, that's what we did. We bumper hitched to school in the winter. But I suppose that's not safe either now, eh?
No, you get shot for that.
Oh, do you?
Oh yeah, it's a bylaw.
Yeah.
First shoot, ask questions later.
And if you're not dead, we'll drug you.
Yeah.
What a world, man! What a freaking world!
No, come on, you go back on that for a second. Jeez, I forgot all about that until you brought it up. I used to do that all the time.
We used to love the Volkswagen Beetles because they had the Volkswagen.
And you get guys that actually stop the cars and come out and chase you though. They get pissed off. They didn't like you hanging on their bumper.
Yeah, but we were quicker than they were. But the Volkswagen Beetle, it had great because it kind of like had a railing for a bumper, right? You know, so you could really, you know, there was like it was made for bumper hitching, right? It was slick. I mean, it was so much fun when we were. I mean, we did that on our bicycles, for God's sakes. We'd hook onto the side of a car, right? Just grab a door handle, and you could really make good time. And then when you're getting where you're going, you just let go of the door handle and cut off or whatever you're doing. I mean, cars were great. They got you around. But I guess nobody does that anymore, huh?
I don't know.
Am I glad?
I don't even want to tell my children that because they might attempt it. And nowadays...
Well, I don't know. It's the same damn thing.
Safe.
I mean, I know one thing. I'm glad I had my childhood and my teenhood when I did. I don't know. I don't think I could deal with what these kids are dealing with today. No wonder they got full of anxiety. You know, when your kid says they can't roughhouse because it may have a negative effect on their future work careers, huh? Like, you're 14, go have some fun. Well, we're not allowed. Well, maybe that's why you're suffering anxiety. Maybe that's why you're thinking of killing yourself, because you see nothing good coming your way.
No matter how hard you try, I know.
So, yeah, let's fire up the bumper edition. Anyway, thank you, Chris. That was a freaking hoot, man. I enjoyed the hell out of that today. We'll be back Thursday night. Thanks time. Take care, everybody. And you got go up and pick a car.
Fuck them back, it's only for they want. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape.